Hi.
Congratulations, first of all, for securing 28th rank, and it's my honor to have you today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here as well.
Yes, so I have like a lot many questions for you. Of course, preparing in a 1 year, and you are the one of the youngest aspirant who actually cracked the exam and now taking your step ahead for good deeds for our nation. So first, I would like to know. Of course, it's lockdown, and as a UPSC aspirant before, so you might have not get so much of time for yourself and filling up with your hobbies. So what all things have you explored by yourself in this lockdown?
I mean, in this lockdown, honestly, I think, my results weren't out. So I was just thinking and obsessing about my results and whether they would be good or whether I would have to take the exam again. So I was just, in that zone, studying and, just waiting for my results to be out. But on the other hand, I also like took out some time to watch, a few documentaries on Netflix because nature documentaries really calm me down. And like I read a few books here and there and just try to be at peace however much I could, but obviously the lockdown was obviously hard on each and every one of us.
Yes, but it might be so exciting. Of course, the lockdown have been saddened everyone, but then yay, your result came out, and of course, 20th rank is like a biggest one. Did you expect that?
Honestly, no. I mean, I thought I had done my best, in the examination, and this was the best I could actually do. So I felt, okay, if I have done my best, it can't be that bad, right? So I was hoping I would get through, but I obviously didn't know that I would get such a good rank in my first attempt.
Yes, definitely confidence help you a lot that time. So as you have prepared by yourself, I wanna know like what strategies did you use for it? Can you just give me some brief note about that?
Right. Yeah. So I basically started my preparation in June of 2018, and it was a year-long preparation. My prelims were on June 2nd, 2019. Right. So I firstly moved to Old Rajendra Nagar to begin in my preparation, and that is the hub of civil service aspirants, as you all know. So, and I started actually taking coaching from Vajiram and Ravi. uh, Within like 3 4 months I realized that coaching is not my cup of tea, honestly, because I already come from a humanities background. I had arts in 11th and 12th, and then I studied history in my graduation years. So it wasn't adding much value to my existing preparation, so I decided to just start studying at home. Um what I basically did was try to finish my syllabus in the first 6 months of my preparation. So I divided my day into two parts basically. In the first half of the day, I would try to focus on the general studies subjects. So GS2, GS3, GS4. And in the evening, when I used to study, I used to focus on my optional subject, that was history. So I didn't need any coaching for history because, as I told you, I had history in my graduation level. So I studied my optional subject by myself, and I tried finishing the syllabus in the first 6 months. Now, once my syllabus was over, I started focusing on revising each and every part of the syllabus again. Since revision is the key to clearing this examination. You can read however many books you want, but if you don't revise what you've read, then you will forget it and you won't be able to recall it when you need it during the examination. So I started my
Yes.
revisions. I started taking answer writing practice at home only, and I did join a few mock test series for my prelims as well, beginning from like October or November. That this continued till about 2 3 months before my prelims. And when my prelims were about 2 or 3 months away, I started to focus just on clearing my prelims. Earlier my preparation was an integrated one, wherein I was focusing on both mains and prelims. But now I decided, okay, it's high time. Now let me revise my basic books, the basic NCRTs, Lakshmikant, Spectrum, and all of those books, so that I can actually get through my prelims. I also increased the intensity and the frequency of the mock tests that I was taking. And I would take about like 3 a week, 2 to 3 a week. And then I would analyze, where I lost marks, where I got marks, and how to improve on my shortcomings and my weak areas. And that's pretty much it. And then my prelims came in on June 2nd, 2019, and I sailed through luckily with God's grace. And then I started preparing for my mains. So for my mains, again, I took multiple test series, I would say. And I think for each and every paper, if you look at the general studies paper, if you look at the essay paper, if you look at the optional paper, I had taken at least 2 test series for each and every one of the subjects. And then after I was done preparing for my mains, revising, and seeing where I lost my marks in the mock test series, I took my mains. And then again, I got through, and then I started preparing for my interview. Now, when you reach the interview stage, obviously a lot of people had told me to take multiple mock interviews, and that's what I did. I went to at least 4 or 5 institutes and took about 6 mock interviews from all of these. And then I finally had my interview on 11th March 2020, which was luckily before the lockdown. And then, yeah, because I think, if you people who took it after the lockdown, I think they were under a lot of stress. So I think for me, it was easy that way. It got over before the lockdown. And then I just waited for my results. And then on August 4th, I got them, and I got through again with God's grace.
Wow, that's great. And like, do you think, like, as you have talked about mock test, was it like, as for your experience, do you think mock test was so like convenient for you to do for like prelims and also mains?
I think, yeah, they were like, you have to schedule your mock tests in the right way, because if you don't, then you end up missing a lot of tests, and you're like, okay, I can do this next weekend or the weekend after that, and there's a lot of time for my exams. But what you have to realize is that the time is limited, and if you want to get through this examination in a year, then you have to schedule each and every aspect of your preparation, which includes your mock tests again. So what I used to do is take most of my mock tests on Saturday or Sunday, and that way I would have time to revise them also once I came back home, because on the weekends I decided I wouldn't study anything new, or I wouldn't revise anything. I would just look at what I've done in the mock test or what I've done through the week to prepare for the mock test. So that way I think my scheduling made it more convenient for me to take these mock tests.
Oh, and like, what about the subjects that you, sorry, the books that you used?
Right. So I'll just go through my, summarized book list with you. So if you look at history, I went through the old and the new NCRTs for history. And then if you look at polity, then I went through Lakshmikant. A lot of people recommended other books like D.D. Vasu and all of those. I stuck with Lakshmikant and Lakshmikant only. I read it from cover to cover. Then if you come to geography, I refer to the 11th and 12th NCRTs. I also refer to GC Leong and PMFIAS if there were topics I didn't particularly understand from the NCRTs. If we look at environment, I refer to Shankar IAS's environment book, which is the Bible for your environment preparation. If you look at general science, since I was a humanities student, I was particularly scared that I wouldn't fare very well in this section. So I refer to 6th to 10th NCRT, and also to the 12th biology NCRT. That I didn't think was particularly helpful. 6th to 10th NCRTs were really beneficial for me. Now, coming to economics, I refer to the 12th NCRT, macroeconomics, and I also refer to Shriram IAS's economics book. Besides all of these, current affairs also play an important role in clearing this examination in both prelims as well as in mains. So for current affairs, I read a newspaper regularly, that was The Hindu. And besides that, I also refer to daily compilations that are available on the Insights IAS website, as well as the Vajiram student portal. I also refer to the monthly compilations that Vision IAS and Vajiram provided. And then eventually there are year-end compilations as well that Vision IAS provides. And I went through those as well. So this was my basic summarized book list.
Oh my god, that's too much. And what about history? Like, of course, history was your optional also, and you did your graduation in that. So were you always interested in history? Because I've seen many people always scared of the dates from history. So what was your interest in that?
Right. So I think people, who are actually afraid of the subject history, they fail to realize that history is more than this just remembering dates. It's actually about understanding how, the polity, the society, the economy, the legal processes, and the institutions have changed throughout the course of a human past. right? So I think that was what made me interested in pursuing history at my graduation level, and then further taking it up as my optional subject. And I think for history, history since my school days, I really had an affinity for the subject. So it was but natural that I take it at my graduation level and also take it as an optional subject. As far as the book list for history goes, ancient India, I refer to for the basics, I refer to R.S. Sharma, which is the old NCRT. But more than that, that was just a basic book. Building on that, I refer to Professor Upinder Singh's book for the ancient part. Moving on to medieval history, I refer to Professor Satish Chandra's book. If we look at modern Indian history, I refer to Professor Bipin Chandra's book again for the basics. And building on that, I refer to Professor Shekhar Bandyopadhyay's book, Plassey to Partition. For world history, I refer to Norman Lowe. And I also refer to Jain and Mathur. And I also refer to a few internet sources like Self-Study History. Basically, for world history, what I would recommend aspirants is that you have to do a selective reading. You can't read each and every thing that world history has to offer. So again, be selective in your reading while you're preparing for world history. Apart from these sources, I had two supplementary sources. That is my own graduation notes, which I taken down when I was studying history at my graduation level, as well as the IGNOU BA history notes. I think this was my basic book list. Apart from this, I think the maps are really important for history. They constitute about 50 marks in your first paper. So for that, I refer to Self-Study History's compilation of maps. And I think that really helped me out in that section.
Okay, as you were talking about maps, so like, did you already practice it, or like, how did you went with maps actually?
Right. So for maps, I think what I did was I would take out at least 30 minutes each day of my schedule for map practice, and I would mark about 5 or 6 places on the map each and every day. So by the end of the first 3-4 months, I had marked enough places on the map, and then I just kept on revising from these places that I had marked. And I'd also written about 30 to 40 words, looking at online sources and looking at my books as well. For my own reference. And then after I was done with the syllabus, I began revising these maps again. And I think it was really easy for me because I just, marked them by myself instead of relying on some book or anything. And I'd also made my own notes for that. So I think that was my strategy for preparing maps.
Definitely, it will help others also to know more about it. So as you have done everything without coaching, so how did you maintain that constancy and also the self note that you made?
Right. I think, one can be consistent, obviously, if they know why they are, why they are giving this examination at the end of the day, right? So for me, it was very simple that I wanted to take the examination and clear it because I had seen my parents do their bit for the nation and I wanted to follow in their footsteps. Also, I felt, that this is something if I clear, I want my parents to be proud of me as well. So that was also another motivation. So I think whenever I felt like, demotivated, or I felt that I was falling short in my preparation, I used to keep reminding myself of my motivation, of my goals, and that would really, help me out in that situation. I think as far as notes for your own self go, it's your choice if you want to make handwritten notes or online notes, or whether you want to make notes at all for your subject. For instance, if you look at a subject like polity, there's just one book to read, and that's Lakshmikant. You can't be making notes out of that now. You just have to highlight there, underline there, and jot down points on the side. Right. So for that, for a subject that doesn't require multiple books, multiple sources, and there's just one book to read, then I would say don't make notes for that, handwritten or online. But for subjects such as history, where there are multiple sources, right, you have to have one compilation of notes, and preferably if it's handwritten, it'll be easy for you to remember. At the same time, I would suggest that if you're making notes for current affairs, and that would occupy rather a large chunk of your day. It would take about 3 hours every day if you're making handwritten notes. So for that, I would suggest make notes on an online medium like Evernote. That's what I did. I used to divide current affairs into various topics like polity and governance, science and technology, environment, and all of that. And then I would just put whatever I'd read in my newspaper, whatever I'd read in the daily current affairs compilations, and I would sort them out into these topics. And I think for current affairs, I took only 1.5 hours to finish all of this. And that saved a lot of time, and I could devote that time to other aspects of my preparation.
Definitely. And what you talked about motivation is so true, because mental stress has been a major issue while preparing for any competitive exam that we talk about. And definitely, of course, you're going ahead in your journey. So what all challenges are you ready to take? And as of you, what all changes would you like to bring in our society today?
Right. So I think, I don't know, I would be ready to face any challenge that is, thrown at me. I mean, let's see what happens, and I'll be fine with facing whatever the civil services requires of me. If we look at what changes I'd like to make in the society, I think first and foremost, I'd like to focus on, women empowerment. I think that's a goal that's really near to me, near to my heart as well. And I think beyond that, I would also like to focus on preserving our historical sites. I think a lot of people, they don't know enough about our historical heritage. And I would
Yeah.
like to, yeah, right. So I would like to focus on preserving our historical sites for that very reason. Beyond that, I think each and every one of us who wants to take the civil services examination, they also want to focus on aspects such as health, such as poverty, and those are obviously the changes that I would also like to go for. But my major ones would be preservation of our historical sites and women empowerment.
That's amazing knowing that. And what message would you like to give to all other IS aspirants, and also to those people who are still finding purpose in their life?
Right. For IS aspirants, for civil service aspirants, what I would like to say is that I know that the journey is hard, and people think that, okay, if I've made it in one attempt, it's not as hard as someone who's made it in like 2 or 3 attempts, and I don't understand, what they're going through. But let me assure you, each and every one of us has gone through the same ups and downs, and we feel demotivated, we feel very low. There are times that you don't want to study at all, you waste an entire day just watching something on Netflix or whatever. But at the end of the day, you have to keep reminding yourself of your goal. You have to keep reminding yourself of your motivations and the changes, again, like what you would want to change in the society. And that's why you are studying for this examination, right? So I would say that just keep reminding yourself of your goal, and you will find it in you to work hard and clear this examination. For others who are still finding purpose in their life, I think, I feel like you should just be curious about whatever, you're studying, whatever you're doing in life, and you should explore each and every one of your interests. And once you do that, I think, your path will become automatically clearer.
Sure, ma'am. And it was really great having you. You are a very inspiring person. And the things that you have talked about, historical monuments and all the changes that you will bring, I'm definitely sure this will help a lot to our country. And thank you for the interview. It was really amazing having you.
Thank you so much for having me, and it was great talking to you.